All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants event. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. The holidays are quickly coming upon us, and we have a couple weeks left in our 2024 portion of the school year, but we are going to jam-pack them with some exciting connections with scientists, explorers, adventurers, and conservationists from around the world. This week, it is CNN Call to Earth Day is coming up tomorrow. So they're featuring stories on their website, on the news channel, featuring people who are working to document the changes on our planet and those who are looking for solutions to have an impact and help protect our fragile ecosystems and amazing places and peoples and wildlife. And so we thought it would be fun to team up and host a series of events this week, showcasing some of those scientists, some of those adventurers, conservationists, and explorers, and bringing them into classrooms so you have a chance to meet them and ask questions. So today's already been a busy day. We started off the day in Costa Rica with OSA Conservation. We climbed high into the rainforest canopy in their new tower, and we learned all about the ways that they're using technology to monitor the rainforest and create wildlife corridors and protect wildlife and biodiversity. We then went to the UK where we teamed up and joined a big cat sanctuary. We met their jaguars and learned all about the programs they're doing to help breed big cats and hopefully release them back into the wild someday. And now we're going to take a little trip to South America, and we're going to spend a little time with Ben Kneppers. He's the co-founder of Bureo. So they're taking discarded fishing nets and recycling them into products like skateboards, sunglasses, hat brims. And they've been doing this since 2013. They've collected over 10 million pounds of discarded fishing nets, and they're helping to protect marine ecosystems by reducing plastic pollution. So I'm going to bring Ben in with us right now. Hey, Ben, how you doing?
Hi, everyone. Good to see you, Joe.
All right, Ben, it is great to have you with us. We've hosted you a few times in the past, but it's got to be at least pre-COVID, maybe even 7 or 8 years since we've had you in last. So I know a ton have happened with Bureo. You guys are growing. You're doing amazing things to help protect our ocean. So it's really great to have a chance to catch up with you today.
My pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity, Joe.
All
really
right.
got some great updates ready to get into when you say.
Perfect. So to the classrooms who are tuning in via YouTube, use the chat sidebar and send in your questions when you're ready. We've got some great camera classrooms backstage. We'll bring them in when the time comes. But for now, Ben, let's let you take over for a bit.
Great. Thanks, Joe. Okay, I am going to share, and hopefully this is going to work.
Okay, I see it loading up. So far, so good.
All set? Everyone can see the screen?
It's just taking a second to catch up, Ben. Oh, there we go. We've got your screen now. If you just pop the presentation to the front, I think we're good to go.
Is it there now? Can you see it?
I don't see it yet. We might just be getting a little bit of a lag. Yeah, let's try that one more time.
One more time.
It's the joy of technology. Our test before we went live, it came up nice and smoothly.
Perfect. Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll get it this time.
I'm sharing now.
Yeah.
And can you see the presentation?
No, it brought up the same screen again, just the screen of you with us. Are you doing the entire screen, Ben, or just a window?
I am. I'm doing the entire screen.
Let's try entire screen one more time, and then let's see if it will. If you pop the window to the front, hopefully it'll go for us this time.
Okay, let's see. Can you see the presentation deck on the screen?
I can't. I don't know what's happening differently this time.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's since entire screen seems to not be working for us, Ben, let's try just sharing a window and see if that'll work better for us.
Let's see. Do you see the window now? Oh, it's doing that again.
Yeah, it's just giving us.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
Yeah. Can you, if you click
Let me try to open it.
so it comes up to the front of the screen for you.
Yeah, I don't understand. Okay.
Yeah, it's so funny that we're having this trouble.
Literally, we just rehearsed.
It just
Okay.
came through nice and smooth for us. Okay.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, try just a window this time, Ben. If you instead of clicking the entire screen, try just clicking a window, and see if that'll go for us.
It's not giving an option to choose a window, just the entire screen. But I'll see if it. Can you see it now?
Oh yeah, it's going this time.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
Now let's go full screen, and then I think we'll cross our fingers. Yeah. Okay, we're good.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. That's a relief. Okay, well, here we go. Greetings from Brazil. I'm based in a beautiful coastal village off the coast of Bureo in the state of Sao Paulo. My name is Ben Kneppers. I'm actually American-born, but been living in South America for over the past 10 years. And I'm here to present you about our lovely little company called Bureo. We're a business, as Joe really nicely described. We're really focused on creating positive solutions to this growing problem of ocean plastic pollution. And my goal here today is to give you some insight on what we've done over the last 10 years, but also my hope really is to inspire you guys and give you guys knowledge and insight to see what you can take on about the things that you care about in the environment in the world today. And so as all good stories start, it started with a good group of friends, my two friends, David and Kevin, and myself. And the reason we were such good friends is because we shared a common passion for the ocean environment. Every chance we could, we would enjoy the ocean together, surfing, swimming, time at the beach, boating, fishing, you name it. Love the ocean. And the problem we kept running into whenever we were in it was this problem that you're starting to see more and more: plastic pollution. It's pretty phenomenal what level you can get to, and it's hard to argue that it's how serious it is not becoming everywhere. You can see it; it's right in front of you. You can see this photo is pretty awful sight of it. This is in Indonesia, but what we were seeing as we were surfing all around the world and traveling is this problem was everywhere. And so with us working hard in our educations and in our engineering backgrounds, we decided to take it upon ourselves to try and better understand the situation and see what could be done about it. And so we took a deep look into it and actually found that there are a lot of tangible solutions that you can take on. When people can understand the problem better, especially in coastal environments, address the problem by looking upstream and thinking of where all this plastic is coming from and stopping it before it enters the ocean, and then creating the right systems in place so that people can do something about it, then that actually can solve the majority of the problem out there. And so we really want to tackle that. And just to give you guys a snapshot of how big this problem is, every minute of every day, we're talking about one dump truck this size entering the ocean with plastic pollution every minute of every single day. So obviously but when there's a problem, that means there's an even greater opportunity. And that's how we looked at this problem, as a great opportunity. Now, understanding, obviously, we're not going to be able to take on every type of plastic there is. We wanted to understand what was really the big problem. And as you probably guessed from my presentation, the big problem, believe it or not, are these pretty things: fishing nets. Yes, they're beautiful in color and they're incredibly useful, obviously, to catch fish that are feeding people all around the world, billions of people, that is. The problem is these fishing nets nowadays, they're all made from plastic. And plastic can last incredible amounts of time in the ocean if they ever get lost. And they turn into something that's become known as a ghost net. A ghost net is something that gets, when a fishing net breaks or no longer is usable, and fishermen don't have other options, they, in many cases, have no choice but to end up leaving their nets at sea, where they continue haunting the ocean in these big floating pieces of mysterious debris that you could imagine are similar to ghosts lurking the hallways of a spooky house. But sadly, in this case, these ghosts are trapping and entangling marine life and beautiful environmental ecosystems, and is such as these coral reefs you can see here in this photo. And so what we took upon ourselves when we tried to understand it is to say, why is this happening? And when we started going around to fishermen communities here in South America, we understood none of the fishermen actually wanted to contribute to this problem. It was just simply that their nets break, they're no longer usable for them, and that there was nothing in place for them to do the responsible thing and put them into an environmentally sound solution at their end of useful life. And so that's where we came in with this idea to recycle them. And so the whole concept of recycling is taking something that was once seen to be a waste and turning it into a resource. And that is the magic of recycling. And so fortunately, with fishing nets, because they're made from plastics and because one fishing net is a lot of material, you can take one fishing net and actually turn it into a lot of recycled material. And now here's a quick video I'm going to share with you that's going to explain that entire process that we've come up with. Joe, can you put on that video?
Fishing nets have been identified as the most harmful form of ocean pollution. At Bureo, we work with fishermen to provide an outlet for their old nets so they don't end up in the marine environment. By establishing dedicated collection points and working together with fisheries, our team is able to retrieve batches of discarded nets. These nets are sorted, cleaned, and baled, then transported to our network of recycling partners where they are shredded, melted, and finally made into our signature Net Plus pellets, a 100% recycled material with a fully traceable supply chain. Now our pelletized material can be customized to meet product specifications. We are excited to continue expanding our recycling efforts by partnering with like-minded brands to transform this once harmful material into truly positive solutions. As we scale through the use of Net Plus, we look to inspire others and create positive impacts on our ocean.
Great. And so to give you a snapshot of that process, how it works is we first partner directly with the fishing communities and the fishermen in them. We give them all the necessary education and training so that when their nets do meet their end of useful life, we give them the right incentives so that they can return them back to us. Then we give work to local people in these communities that are then able to sort and clean the nets so that they're nice and ready for us to be recycled. The nets are then brought to a recycling process where they go back to a pure pellet. And that pure pellet is the same form as any other plastic is used to make anything that is made from plastic, where it then goes through a form of innovation and it's made into a variety of products I'll jump off and show you on the video screen here now. And then through the proceeds of those products, we can then empower those communities further, helping people more and raising money for additional environmental programs to benefit the other areas that are being affected in the environment. So how does it work when you make a product from recycled plastic? Believe it or not, it's actually very similar to making waffles. You have your batter, which is your recycled fishing net pellets, and you have your mold, which is just like your waffle iron. You pour the plastic into the mold heats up the plastic, and with the pressure and heat inside the mold, it forms whatever you want to make out of that product. And here, I'll try and jump over and show you guys some examples here. So here are the pellets. That came from this type of fishing net that we collected from a fishing village down in Chile. We sorted it, we cleaned it, and then we recycled it into that pellet you see right there. That pellet can then go into the waffle iron and get made into a variety of products. We first believe it or not, made a skateboard deck. Then we made some Frisbees. Then, one of my favorites, sunglasses. Another favorite, surfboard fins. Jenga game sets, the little Jenga blocks from the Jenga game set. And then we figured out how to make the recycling process even more advanced, where we could actually make a pure pellet, the same quality as plastic that we use for anything. And that's what we got here. These magic things allow us to go even a step further, where now we're making hats and even jackets. So now your job is to keep an eye out when you're at the stores, in stores for outdoor apparel like Patagonia, and you got to see that little Net Plus label. And if you see that there, you can know that your plastic in your apparel and your product is actually made from 100% recycled fishing nets. And so as you can see, we've developed a whole variety of products. And because of this, it's allowed us to grow our program much bigger than just a few fishing communities that we're working in now, where we're now over in 10 countries all across the Americas and now expanding to Africa and Asia. And the best part in all of this, not only are we able to remove the fishing nets from the environment that could be potentially harming the marine ecosystem, we're able to make these great products, but also we have a commitment for every kilogram, every pound of fishing net that we get to our program, we commit money back into those fishing communities. We're able to reinvest it into solar electricity, marine mammal rehabilitation, environmental education programs, and environmental cleanups so that we can continue to make a net positive impact on these communities. And to date, we've actually recycled over 14 million pounds. To give you an idea, this is our warehouse in Chile, where this amount of fishing nets is what we're processing every single month, all because of this solution we've created to this once really harmful material. And so in summary, I'm going to put it back to you guys. So we've kind of got this stuff figured out when it comes to some of these fishing nets, but there's so much more plastic out there. So what else can we do to end plastic pollution? This is my 2-year-old daughter, Isla. We go to the beach every Sunday to do a little cleanup, and she's doing her part. So hopefully you guys can figure out what you can do on your part, and we can really overcome these big problems like plastic pollution that's directly affecting our marine environment. So I'm going to stop there. Thanks, everyone. And I really look forward to your questions. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Ben. That was an awesome presentation. It's really exciting to see how much things have grown, the impact you're having. And the best part of all is how some of that money goes back to the community. And through things like that, it really encourages the community, I'm sure, to recycle and to be involved. And, you know, like you said, it's not something that they wanted to be doing, but circumstances, sometimes there isn't another solution. So you guys really stepped in with a really important and powerful solution and option for them.
Thanks, Joe. Yes.
All right. Very cool. Well, before we get into some Q&A action, we're going to play a little Kahoot together. So while you were presenting, Ben, I made a little Kahoot quiz for the classrooms, and we're going to test their knowledge and see how they do. So just bear with me for a second while I share my screen. That should come up now. And if you're going to join us for today's Kahoot, you need to go to kahoot.it, and then it's going to ask you for a PIN number, 251-6684. Now, if you're able to join us from your seat, maybe you have a tablet or a Chromebook, you can join that way. If not, your teacher could put this up at the front of the classroom and you could shout out your answers to him or her. If it's not possible to join us with tech today, no big deal at all. You can still play along in your classroom and see how you do. So while we give a few seconds here for some students and some classrooms to join us, I am going to grab a couple questions here from YouTube. So the first question, Ben, that I have here on YouTube is why skateboards? What inspired skateboards to be one of the first products?
That's a great question. Well, I mean, we were all surfers, and of course we wanted to make a surfboard, but surfboards are actually made from a very type of material. It's typically an EPS foam, not something made from that recycled fishing nets are made from. And so the next best thing we landed on was skateboard decks. And the benefit there also is it's only 1 kilo of plastic that goes through all the trouble of sourcing. We can now sell for something of much higher value. In the case of a skateboard, over $100, which all that money can help us cover all the added effort involved working with the communities to get this material collected and help them and give back, so that we can produce this product and sustain our program.
Okay, let's grab one more quick question here. The fishing nets, when you collect them, was it hard at first to activate the community to collect the fishing nets?
Yes, it was. The first country we collected fishing nets from was Chile. And I'm American. I don't have the best Spanish, and that my partners are even worse in Spanish. So it was just explaining to them our process of what we wanted to do. As you can imagine, was quite a challenge. But what was really the breakthrough for us was when we got to come back and actually show the finished products that we're making from their material. Then it turned into an entire buy-in from them because they were so proud of what their material was becoming. And then everyone started joining in. Now that's how we've gotten to be involved with so many communities today.
All right, very cool. We'll hold those questions. We're going to meet our camera classroom shortly. But for now, let's play a quick round of Kahoot. We've got some multiple choice, some true and false. The quicker you put in the right answer, the more points you're going to get. So let's see who lands on our podium today. So our first question, where is Ben calling us from today? A nice warm-up question. Is Ben in Chile, Brazil, Ecuador, or Peru? You've got about 15 seconds to lock in your answer. All right, a nice little clue there, decoding in the photo. Good job, crew. Ben is absolutely in Brazil. Ben, I was in Rio not too long ago. Where in Brazil are you?
I'm just off of the coast of Sao Paulo, in the state of Sao Paulo.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our next question. Oh, first we got to see who's in the lead, the Creative Seal, but Agent Alpaca is only a point behind. So let's go to our next question. True or false coming your way? 1 dump truck of plastic enters the ocean every day. Is that true or is that false? That a dump truck of plastic enters the ocean. Whoa, that was fast. We fooled a few students. That is false. It's actually every minute. It is much more than once a day. Every minute, a dump truck worth of plastic enters our ocean. So big shout out to the students who chose false on that one. That shakes things up a little. The caring zebra is now in first place. Another true or false coming your way. Fishing feeds billions of people around the world. Is that true or is that false? That fishing feeds billions of people around the world. Got a few more seconds to lock in those answers. Five more to go. All right, there we go. That's a bit better. Absolutely true. Fishing is so important, a source of protein for a lot of people around the world, which is why it's so important that we do try to protect our reefs, protect our oceans, and limit that ghost fishing that Ben talked about. Okay, Caring Zebra held on. We've got one last question to finish things off. How many tons of fishing net has Bureo collected? Is it 10 tons? Is it 1,000 tons? Is it 500,000 tons? Or is it oh, you guys are fast. You guys finished the question before I could finish reading it. That's right. It is over 14 million tons. That is absolutely amazing. Let's take a look at our podium. In third place, we've got the Silly Bobcat. In second place, the Bright Bobcat. A couple Bobcats here today. And in first place, holding down that top spot, the Caring Zebra took the lead and wouldn't let go in the end. All right, very cool. Well, thanks, classrooms, for playing along with us. I'm going to come back from that screen share. Remember, if you're tuning in via YouTube, keep those questions coming. I'll read a few out in just a moment. But for now, let's go to some of our live classrooms. So let's start. I see lots of hands in our class in Illinois. So let's bring those third graders in.
Let's see.
Hey, boys and girls, how we doing?
Hello. We have lots of questions.
We're
Great.
ready.
Did you ever find like any radioactive nets?
Good question. Good question. We haven't, thankfully. No, the material, when it gets recycled, it goes through lots of different tests to make sure it's safe for us to use again in all these different products. And so far, we haven't found anything that's dangerous with radioactivity. That's a very good question.
Will they come back to us?
Of course, yeah. Let's get a few from your class, then we'll go. We'll go to the next group.
Let's see. I want Lada and 1, 2, 3. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, we're ready.
You're ready. Okay.
How many things have you made out of the fishing net so far?
Oh
many
my
different-
gosh, that's a great question. How many different products? I think it's probably in the range of about 20 million different products, believe it or not, at this point. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
That's pretty impressive.
Right. Next one up. Go ahead.
So, do you make like technology with it? Like, could you make like iPads or like iPad cases? Do you like make?
We could think of, so there's the two types of plastic. So there's different types of plastic, right? I don't know if you're familiar with these names. You can see them on the bottom of the bottles, the different numbers that have the little recycling symbol. That indicates what type of plastic it is. There's polypropylene, polyethylene, nylon. In the case of our main type of plastic in fishing nets, it's nylon. So you can really think anything that you see that's made from nylon, we could in theory make from our recycled fishing nets. When it comes to technology, like computer chips, that's a different kind of material, but certainly the cases for iPads, we could definitely try and make that. Yeah, good idea.
Need a contract with Apple. Go ahead.
Has there been any wildlife stuck inside the plastic?
Sadly, yes, that's a big reason why we try to do what we do. Fishing nets are designed to entangle and trap marine life. That's what their purpose is when you go fishing, is to trap a marine life. So sadly, when a net gets left in the ocean, it'll continue to do that, and it traps a lot of different marine life in that way. But fortunately, by working together with the fishermen and creating this solution, we can prevent that from happening in many cases by instead recycling the fishing nets.
Thank you.
All right. Well, third graders, if you have a couple more, we're going to swing back your way in a little bit. But I want to go to Toronto area this time and bring in some grade 4 5s hanging out with us. How are we doing, 4 5s?
Hi, good.
All right,
What's
we're ready.
Good.
How long have you been going for? How long?
How long has your company been running for?
Yeah, we actually started over 10 years ago with this crazy idea to go to Chile, get fishermen's fishing, old stinky fishing nets, turn it into a skateboard, and try to make a business out of it. And it's been 10 years later, and now we've got all these millions of fishing nets collected, millions of products made, and we're ready to go another 10 years, hopefully many, many more years. So great question.
All right, very cool. Do you have a couple more there before I go to YouTube?
Yep.
Excellent.
I think it's coming.
Is your company
Profitable.
Yes, we have not gotten there yet. The way a company works, we're still in the growth phase, so we're still growing to more and more communities. So every time we do make more money, instead of trying to keep it as profit, what we end up doing is we use it to go to more communities and grow the business to more and more places where fishermen need the solution. So hopefully, as we continue to scale that, then it will eventually become profitable.
So I have a question the kids might not think of then. Are you finding support from different places? Are there companies or people or societies that help you in what you're doing?
Yes, in many ways. We've been recipients of several grants from different governments in Chile and Peru and Mexico and the United States that's helped us set up our program in a new location. And we also, our whole our whole program is to supply our raw material to brands that then can replace the plastic that's originally coming directly from oil that they have to drill for and cause a lot of damage to do so.
Right.
Instead, they can replace it with our plastic. And when they buy our plastic, they're obviously directly benefiting our business and helping us continue to scale our operations.
Great. We actually had a couple questions that were exactly the same as the previous group about wildlife and what wildlife you have seen, if you have seen it caught in the fishing line.
Yes. Many different types of wildlife, sadly. You can really imagine anything that's out there swimming in the sea has the ability of getting trapped in entangled marine life. It's very unfortunate, but again, I think what we're trying to do is be positive and just say there are solutions out there to it. But personally, I've seen fish, I've seen birds, I even had a dog get tangled in a fishing net once. That was when we were having it at our net yard. So it's really, I've personally gotten tangled in the fishing nets. It's really awful stuff.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right. Thanks, 4 5s. We'll visit you one more time right towards the end. But I want to grab a few questions here from YouTube. So I've got a class from here in Michigan, Ben, and they would like to know what were some of the biggest obstacles you've had to face or overcome?
Oh my gosh. I guess it depends on the day of the week. It's creating something that's never existed before, especially in a foreign country, was a tremendous challenge. But I think what we found is that everyone was supportive and open to it. And so at the end of the day, it's really just about you being determined enough and committing yourself to always knowing that there's a way. Problems will always occur. It's not about what problem occurs to you, it's how you deal with it. And when you keep with that attitude, you'll persevere.
All right. And that kind of feeds nicely into the next question here, which is about advice for students who have an idea, but maybe aren't sure what to do next.
Oh, gosh. I mean, first and foremost, listen to your teachers, get as good of an education as you possibly can. You've got a great opportunity. Obviously, you got some very smart teachers out there that are signing up for this awesome activity that you guys have right now. So clearly you're in good hands. But step one, get a great education. I did myself and my 2 other founders, we all studied engineering at university and went on and used that as a great foundation for what we're doing here. Then 2, try as many things as you can in the world and figure out what you're passionate about. Because when you can combine your skill set, your education, what you've learned to develop in your education with something you're really passionate about, that's when I think the greatest potential of you can come to fruition. And so I think finding things, in my case, I was very passionate about the ocean environment. I had this great knowledge of engineering from my degree, and then we took it upon ourselves to connect those two by protecting the ocean environment, by engineering this recycling solution to address it. And so I think that same kind of approach can go for anyone.
Okay, I've got a question here from some 6th graders in Alberta, and they're wondering, is there any plans to collect plastics outside of fishing nets, or is there just so many fishing nets that's going to keep you busy for a long time?
Yeah, we certainly do a lot of different work with the funds that we raise for the community project donations, and some of that does involve addressing other types of plastic. But for our business and our program, its focus is definitely fishing nets. And the reality is there's over 600,000 tons of fishing nets entering the ocean every year. So we have our hands full. If we can solve the problem of fishing nets, that's going to be already an incredible accomplishment. But certainly on the way, we're always open to considering ways to address other forms of plastic, and that's what we're doing with our community projects. But right now, I think the most effective way is stay focused in addressing the problem of fishing nets. And that's where you guys can come in and help us with all these other forms.
All right. Let's check in with our camera crew and see if they have a couple more questions for us as we're getting close to the end of our hangout today. So let's go back to our 3rd graders. I have a feeling that they have a few more there.
Wow, lots always. Nika, go ahead.
How much money do you make from your company every day?
That's a fantastic question. Tell you what, it's enough that I can raise my family, and I can put a roof over our head. I can feed my 2 loving kids, get them to school every day, and take care of all of our bills, and maybe have a little bit extra for maybe a family trip once a year. And so I'd say that's enough for now.
I think she might have meant how much money are you taking in by selling the plastics? Is that right?
Yeah.
How much is the company taking in?
Oh gosh, let me try and summarize that question. Well, look, it's broken into the cost of operation, the cost of the cost of running the business, and then it's whatever we have left is something we try to make sure is enough for our salaries so that we can continue raising our families and having enough to live off of at the end. And so it's a mixture of all of those would be the best answer I can possibly give to that question.
That's fair. Absolutely. Do we have another question there?
Dakota and then Lotta.
Okay.
All right.
3?
Is there anything we're able to do to help the wildlife?
Yes. Oh my gosh, there's so much. Just as you saw, my two, we do beach cleanups very often, and thinking very wisely about what you buy, and making sure that the things that you can recycle, you recycle, and supporting the causes that you care about that help your community, your environment. Those are all things I know that are readily available right where you live. And the best part is it gives, in the end, believe it or not, it actually gives you more than you have to give it. So I highly recommend, if you feel inspired to get involved, I would definitely recommend asking your teacher and learning more about things you can do right in your own community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ask your teacher. Lotta, go ahead.
How many animals have been trapped in just one fishing net?
In just one fishing net? That's a good question. I mean, it really is hard. The problem with that is that it's really hard to measure because there's so many fishing nets out there. In order to confirm what has or has not been trapped in a net would probably take a lot of cameras and a lot of time to see what happens to the fishing net. But I do know estimates out there they're estimating in the hundreds of thousands of animals per year are getting trapped and tangled in fishing nets.
All right. 3rd graders, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all of those great questions. And this group here, Ben, they have chosen to be here. So they take their lunch to come for these events.
Wow.
So this is definitely a group of passionate students
guys.
who's really interested in what's happening in the world.
That means a lot to me. Thank you for taking this time for me.
All right. Very cool, 3rd graders. Let's check in with our Fab 4-5, see if they have a question or two to wrap us up for today.
Hi. So when you collect like fishing nets, could you, instead of collecting fishing nets, like collect other materials to make like the skateboards and Jenga that you do make with the fishing nets?
That's a great question. So the challenge with recycling plastic is to make something new out of plastic trash. You need to make sure all the plastic trash is all the same kind of plastic. And so when you pick up any kind of plastic that you're finding as trash in the environment, it's hard to determine what is the right type of plastic you need to make that product. And so when you have fishing nets, you can see it, it's a large amount of material, and you know that it's all the same type of plastic. That's when you have the ability to recycle a large amount of it and make a lot of products the same way again and again and again, because you know it's the same kind of plastic. You're welcome.
Yeah, if you have time in the next few days, Ben mentioned this already, look on the bottom of different plastic bottles and containers and things like that, and you'll see a recycling symbol and different numbers inside. And that means it's different types of plastic. And sometimes cities can only do one type or two types. And so some of the different kinds end up going to the landfill anyway. So take a look at the bottom. You'll see that there's lots of different kinds of plastic. It's not just one type of plastic. Okay, 4-5s, do you have one more there for us?
Do you have any more questions, anyone? I think we're tapped out right now.
That's okay. Well, 4-5s, it was so great to see you with us. And Ben, this group here is working on another project, freshwater project with us. So they are going out and they're testing the quality of the fresh water over the course of the year in their local community. So that's really cool.
Very cool. Great work, guys. That's awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, 4-5s. So I'm going to grab one more question here from YouTube before we sign off for today. And Ben, this question is about the future. So, what are future plans for Bureo?
Yeah, so we've just recently started launching the different products made from the fabric from the fishing nets. And that's been a really great opportunity for us because you can imagine there's so many different garments that are made from currently plastics that are not recycled. And there's many companies out there that are looking to switch to recycle because they want to improve the environmental performance of their products. And so right now we're really working on getting a lot more companies to adopt our material, stop relying on virgin oil from virgin plastic that's derived from oil, and instead switching to our solution. And when they do that, when we get those commitments growing more and more, we can then allow ourselves to grow to more and more places around the world, more fishing communities, and provide our solution so that hopefully someday soon we can have our solution available to every fishing community in the world. That's what we see for our future.
All right. Excellent. I love it. Really excited about the clothes as well, the coats and things like that, because I don't think students sometimes make that connection that even the clothes we're wearing have plastics, and that comes from oil, from the ground. So yeah, it's a whole kind of cycle that you guys want to kind of break and kind of close the loop and have a nice closed system. So I think that's awesome. I want to start off with a shout out to our classrooms. Thank you so much for tuning in with us on YouTube. Thanks for playing Kahoot with us, sending in those great questions. To our camera classes, I'll poke in them back there. Our great question today. Thank you so much for being with us. And Ben, it was so great to catch up. Thank you so much for the work you're doing, and I can't wait to keep following along and see what happens next.
My pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity, Joe. Great to see you. And
all
great
right,
to see everyone.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. We're going to sign off for today. Hopefully we see you in some more events before the holidays. But for now, have a great rest of the week. Thanks, everyone.